So today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, text number 30 to 34. Krishna is all pervading. So, text 30 it says, Sa evedam sasarjagre Bhagavan Atmamayayam Sadasadrupaya Chasau Gunamaya Guno Vibhu. In the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, in its transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. So, this verse is speaking about how Supreme Lord is actually the source of creation. He is the ultimate Lord of the universe. And yet his position is not tainted. He always remains in his transcendental position. So the Supreme Lord, although he is the source of creation, his position is always transcendental. Because cause and effect energies, which are actually required for the purpose of creation, they are created by him, but he's untouched by those energies. Now, this is actually a very wonderful and very scientific explanation. Many times people, in different religions, they simply speak the subject matter related to the Supreme Lord, or how he is the supreme creator, how he is supremely cognizant, or how he is all merciful. They may speak these virtues of the Supreme Lord, but when they are challenged, they become confused. Especially in Christianity, they always have challenged. God cannot be omniscient, omnipresent, all powerful, and all good simultaneously. And what is the reasoning? The reasoning is, they say, if God is all powerful, then there will be no evil in this world, because he is capable of stopping all the evil. So maybe he's all powerful, but he's allowing the evil to continue. So probably he's not omniscient. He doesn't know that evil is existing here. Or if he's also all knowing, he knows everything, then how can he be all good? He knows that there is evil going on, and he's all powerful. He has power to stop the evil, and he yet allows the evil to continue. That means he is not good. So therefore, they have this challenge. And many of the times, the atheistic people, when they bring this argument, that completely puzzles people who lack in knowledge of the supreme absolute truth in a scientific way. We know this Frankenstein's monster, right? Scientist creates a robot, and that becomes a monster. Okay, so people have this idea that one may create something, but the creation can always overpower the person who created it. That is not the case with the Supreme Lord. He is the source of all the creation. So the cause and effect is very much something that we see in this creation. For example, if I look at myself, I have a cause. My parents, my father and mother, they are my cause. Therefore, I'm here. And my father had his cause, that is his father and mother. My mother had her cause as her father and mother. So everyone and everything in this world has some cause. And every cause in this world has an effect. So the cause and effect is nothing but the energies of the Supreme Lord. So for example, if I say my father and mother, they are the cause of me, but they are also energy of the Lord. They are Tatastha Shakti of Krishna, as much as I am also Tatastha Shakti of Krishna. So cause and effect in every way is nothing but Krishna's energy. He is the one who's source of all cause and effects. Ultimately, we know from Puranas, Brahma is the creator. So he is the cause of practically everything and everyone in the universe. But he also has a cause. He's created from the navel of Lord Vishnu. We know from Lord Vishnu's navel, the lotus flower comes, and on that lotus flower, Brahmaji is born. So even though Brahma is cause of everyone in this creation, but he is also having a cause, that is Vishnu. But amazing thing is, Vishnu or Krishna doesn't have any cause. Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. In fact, it will be appropriate to say only Krishna is the cause of all causes. Vishnu also has his cause in Krishna or in Balaram, who ultimately has his source in Krishna. So, Krishna is the cause of everything and everyone, and yet he is unaffected by the qualities of his creation. So even though everything in the material world is created by Krishna, he's not affected by that. Simple thing, no one in this world can remain unaffected by his or her creation. No one. Say, for example, even if I construct a home, I create a home, then I'm liable for the taxes, I'm liable for the maintenance. If somebody gets injured in my home, I'm liable for that. Similarly, in a family, my wife and myself, we may give birth to children. We cannot remain unaffected by those children. If tomorrow the children misbehave or the children do something excellent or extraordinary work, we get moved, we get affected by that. So in ordinary sense, no cause remains indifferent or unaffected by its effect. But Krishna is completely unaffected by the cause and effectual energies of his. Therefore, his form, his activities, his paraphernalia, his very existence, they are all beyond this material creation. They existed before this creation, they are existing while this creation is in effect, and they exist even when this creation is annihilated. So therefore, Krishna's existence is not affected by this material creation. We go to the text 31. Taya vilasiteshva guneshu gunavan iva antaha pravishta abhati vijnanena vijrambita. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in his transcendental position. So again, the position of the Lord is being explained in this verse. Here it says, the Lord always remains in fully enlightened position. Vijnanena vijrambhita. Vijnana means realized knowledge. So the Supreme Lord always remains in his Vijnana, in his transcendental enlightened position. Conditioned living entities, uh, who are actually born in this material existence, they cannot always remain in transcendental position unless they are in contact with the Supreme Transcendental. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjana tanaham veta sarvani natam veta parantapa. He's telling, my dear Arjun, both you and me, we have spent many lifetimes in this world. I have taken many births before, and you have taken many births before. I can remember all those births, but you cannot. So that means even if a living entity is very powerful like Arjun, still the living entity is subjected to forgetfulness. But that is not the case with Krishna. The Supreme Lord, even though he enters into this material existence, he always remains in enlightened position. So living entity, they are put in this material world with the purpose of fulfilling their desire to enjoy the matter. And therefore they are made forgetful. They actually forget their position so that they can fully identify themselves with the matter and try to enjoy the material facilities. But Krishna, as his eternal friend, as Paramatma, he accompanies the living entities to guide them in their material enjoyment, the efforts to enjoy the material creation. And therefore the Supreme Lord always remains as a witness. So this is explained in the Upanishad, Samane Vrikshe Purushun. And the body is compared to a tree, and living entity and Paramatma, they are like the two birds on the tree. One bird is fully absorbed in trying to enjoy the fruits of the tree, which is this body. So this body has fruits in terms of dharma, artha, kam, moksha. The four different flavors of fruits. And the fruits are always of two kinds. In all those four flavors, there are two kinds of fruits. The fruit of happiness, which is like sweet fruit, and fruit of distress, which is like bitter fruit. So in dharma, there is fruit of happiness and distress. In artha, there is the fruit of happiness and distress. In kama, there's the happiness and distress. And in moksha, there is happiness and distress as well. So all these fruits, they come in two varieties, happiness and distress. So for example, dharma, some activities of dharma people enjoy, like marriage ceremony, they enjoy, but certain ceremonies people don't enjoy, like for example, the anteshti, whenever somebody dies in the family, performing Shraddha ceremony, performing Tarpan, performing the last rites of the dead person. That's also part of dharma. But that is dharma, duty is filled with distress. So, in similar way, in artha, kama, moksha, in every way there are happiness and distress experienced by the living entity. So living entity is fully absorbed in trying to enjoy. But Paramatma, he simply witnesses. So, and Paramatma, being the witness, doesn't get affected. It remains always transcendental. We go to the text 32. Yatha hi avahito vahanir daru sheva ekale. Ekah swayonishu naneva bhati vishwatma bhuteshu cha tatha puman. The Lord, as Super Soul, provides all things just as the fire permeates wood, and so he appears to be many varieties, though he is absolute without a second. Now, this is a beautiful example given here to explain how the Lord remains in this world and yet maintains his transcendental position. Now, one may think, because we don't experience, if somebody creates something, enters into it, is bound to be affected. I created this home, I enter in this home, I start living in this home, I am affected by this home. If the wall breaks or there's some leakage, water leakage, I do get affected. I feel loss. I feel distress when I see something bad happening to the home. For example, suppose if there is a water leakage, I remember a year or so ago, I was actually away from the home and there was this shower in the bathroom. It actually broke open. And it was actually shower handle broke open. So all the water, they couldn't stop the water, seeped all over the bathroom and started, seeping through the floor and going to the ceiling, and we could see on the first level of the water. So immediately you feel affected. Oh, my home is getting destroyed, or my home is getting, so that living entity cannot remain unaffected. But that is not the case with the Supreme Lord. Krishna, Lord Vasudeva, he, in his plenary portion as Paramatma, resides in each and every atom of this creation. Paramatma is residing in each and every atom. Andan tarasta paramanu chayantarastam. So the Lord is situated in each and every atom of this creation. And one can perceive the presence of Paramatma by proper spiritual culture. So though he is present in each and every atom of this creation, he is not affected by being present there. So, for example, I remember, there was one devotee, Prabhupada disciple. His name was Ravana Ari Prabhu. It's very interesting. Prabhupada disciple, one of the devotees, I believe was initiated by Prabhupada. Yeah. So his name was Ravana Ari Prabhu. He was born in Middle East in a Muslim family, in the family of mullahs. So his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather, they were all mullahs. And they were actually priests for the royal families in Middle East. They were actually counseling and they were kind of religious preachers, maintaining the mosque and all over the country. So he was born also in such a family. So his father wanted him to also become a mullah, a priest. So he sent him to the proper monastery to learn. And he was actually very inquisitive. So he heard from the priest that Lord is the Allah, the Supreme Lord is everywhere. So he happened to ask this question. This question just came in mind. So you're saying Allah is everywhere. Is he there in the human stool also? or even the stools of animals. And the priest got so wild. He said, "You are such an offender to Allah. You have no right to be here." He immediately called his father. He said, "Take your son back from here. He doesn't deserve to be, uh, you know, to be becoming a priest or becoming mullah." They threw him out. His father became so upset when he heard this question. you know. And anyway, he was son, so his father thought, okay, he's not fit to become mullah, so he sent him to Germany to study, to do the education, material education. So he went to Germany and he was studying there, and he fell in bad association. He used to drink and had all kinds of bad habits because he was distressed as his father was not really was thinking him to be like a villain. Uh, so one day he was in some of the say maybe restaurants or bars where he was drinking, and he happened to see in dustbin there was one magazine, Back to Godhead magazine. And the very front page, the cover page of the magazine, there was the title article said, "God is there even in stool." So he was completely drunk, but as soon as he saw this, all his his effect of intoxication went away. He picked up the magazine, took it home, started reading, and he got so inspired. He found the address of the local temple. He went to the temple and he introduced himself that, I'm such and such person. And in those days, there were a lot of problems in ISKCON, especially in Germany, with the government and all. So the devotees, they refused to accept him. They said, no. He said, "I want to join the temple. I'm so much inspired." He went and he got some more books from the temple and he wanted to join the temple. But because when they heard that he was the son of a great mullah or priest from the Middle East, they refused to accept him. So he was visiting for a few days and they were refusing him. He said, "No, I want to join the temple. I want to learn this. I'm so much interested." And they were not accepting. They were not willing to accept him. So one day he went in the evening to the temple and he again asked. They refused him. He went to the toilet and closed the door from inside. He said, "I'm not coming out till the time you accept me. God is there in the stool also. So I understand that God is there in this bathroom also. I'll stay here till the time you accept me." And finally, devotees understood his determination, so they accepted him. He joined the temple. But this is actually very interesting, that when people in different religion or tradition, they hear, they feel it's insulting. But no, this indicates the completely transcendental position of the Lord. At the same time, how Lord is actually present in each and every atom. So yes, not only the stool, anything in this world you take, which we may think very obnoxious or untouchable, is nothing but the composition of different atoms. Even human stool, even a pig stool is nothing but atomic constitution. And in each and every atom, Krishna is there. But he remains completely unaffected. Just because Krishna is there in each and every atom, he's there in this stool also, doesn't mean that he becomes affected by it. He's there because he is completely transcendental. In Purana, there's a nice anecdote. Lord Shiva, Mother Parvati, when she was worshipping Lord Shiva to get Lord Shiva as her husband, she, of course, she's Vaishnavi, so Vaishnavas don't eat meat. So she was very rigidly worshipping Lord Shiva with Vaishnava principles, to get him as her husband. So she was worshipping Shivalinga and she was following the Vaishnava principles. Because she, just like Lord Shiva, she's also Vaishnavi. She's staunch worshipper of Lord Vishnu. So, and Vaishnavas, of course, don't eat meat. So she was worshipping Lord Shiva, Shivalinga, with fruits and flowers and milk. She would offer to Shivalinga. And she was worshipping in that way. Lord Shiva, along with the Saptarishis, he wanted to test Mother Parvati. So he took the form of a ghori, or a person who aghoras are people who actually follow certain tantric principles, and they worship Bhairava or different forms of Lord Shiva. So he took the form of a ghora, and along with the Saptarishis, he came to the forest where Mother Parvati was worshipping Shivalinga. So when Mother Parvati went to take bath in the lake, Lord Shiva and Saptarishi, they went and they sat down around Shivalinga, and they were offering the lumps of flesh and meat to Shivalinga. And Parvati was completely shocked. She came in a great angry mood. She said, "What nonsense you people are doing? This is Shivalinga. You don't know Mahadev doesn't like to eat flesh. He's a Vaishnava. He doesn't eat flesh. How can you offer flesh to Lord Shiva?" And Lord Shiva, in the form of Aghori, said, "What you are talking, Devi? Lord Mahadev is the Supreme Lord. He is the Lord of the universe. There is no problem for him to accept anything and everything. Whoever offers him whatever with love and devotion, he accepts it. Whether you offer him bilva leaf or you offer him flesh, he doesn't discriminate, because for him there is each and every thing in this creation is nothing but made of matter. Earth, water, fire, or ether. He doesn't see any difference. And if you have any doubt, I can show you. Whenever I offer flesh to Lord Shiva, he accepts it. He eats it actually. Mother Parvati said, "That is impossible. Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava. He doesn't accept flesh." He said, "So sit down here and see." She said, "No, you cannot offer flesh to my Shivalinga. This is my Shivalinga. Then you should bring your own Shivalinga." Then Lord Shiva further chastised that Shivalinga belongs to everyone. It's not anyone's property. And just witness here, you will see. I'm not going to, Lord Shiva is not contaminated by any contaminating things. So that convinced Mother Parvati. She said, "Okay." And Lord Shiva, when he kept some piece of flesh on Shivalinga, and it disappeared, indicating that Lord Shiva accepted the offering. So Mother Parvati was amazed. So that was actually instruction. Lord Shiva wanted to give the instruction that for the Supreme Lord, there is no difference. Now, Lord Shiva, he's a Vaishnava. Yes, he doesn't eat meat, but when the time comes for dissolution, he burns. He practically eats every living entity, including Brahmanas, sages, and everyone. Doesn't spare anyone. He destroys everyone. He does this as a service to Lord Vishnu. So, the Supreme Lord, he is there in each and every atom as Paramatma. He doesn't get affected by it. He remains transcendental to it. The divine consciousness of man can be kindled by another divine grace. So this is actually very crucial. Just like we were discussing in the case of Ravanari Prabhu. He was seeking genuinely the answer to the questions that he had. But because he didn't find some appropriate guru who could actually enlighten him in true wisdom and knowledge, he was frustrated. But when he found two, Vaishnavas who had the answer to all his questions, he was enlivened. He actually became a staunch devotee. In fact, he became such Vaishnava. In the Middle East, he was preaching so fearsomely. He was preaching. So much so that there were multiple attempts in the Middle East to kill him. They actually succeeded killing his wife. His wife was killed actually by these people, but they didn't succeed to kill him. There were many attempts to kill him because he was preaching their, the Krishna consciousness fearlessly. He was not really, converting anyone, but he was simply genuinely trying to give these teachings of Krishna consciousness to people, helping them to chant Hare Krishna. So, spiritual master's grace, guidance from a spiritual master is very crucial, without which we cannot understand these intricate subject matters which are being described here. A human being can hear properly, whereas animals cannot. So especially in this human form of life, we have facility to hear and understand the subject matter. So this verse is mainly describing that the Supreme Lord, he is present in each and every atom, all over. He's all pervasive, and yet he is untouched. He's untouched by this creation. We go to text 33. Aso gunamair bhaver bhut सूक्ष्मेन्द्रियात्मभि स्वनिमेतेषु nirvishto bhungte bhuteshu tadgunan. The super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind. Now this is another very wonderful but very scientific explanation about how the living entities are able to enjoy anything in this world. Because if we scientifically try to put question or philosophically try to put some questions, the enjoyment in this world doesn't make any sense. No. Now, of course, if you ask such questions, people may think you to be crazy or foolish, because in this world, most of the population is actually foolish, who don't really take such intelligent question to be worthy of spending time. People in this world are more interested in the questions like where I can find money, where I can find sexual satisfaction, where I can find food, where I can find sleep or defense. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. These are the only things and questions people have related to. So if somebody asks the question, for example, okay, I'm saying I am enjoying gulab jamun, for example. When I'm eating first gulab jamun, then I'm eating second one, eating third one, eating 10 gulab jamuns, eating 20 gulab jamuns. The 21st gulab jamun doesn't taste like the first gulab jamun. Why? What is the reason? Somebody may say, oh, your stomach is full. Well, stomach is full. But what stomach has to do when the gulab jamun is coming in contact with the tongue? The happiness that we experience when the first gulab jamun goes into the mouth, there is the same tongue, same mouth is there, same set of teeth is there, and same gulab jamun is there. The flavor is exactly same. Why is it that doesn't give happiness? And you may eat 20 gulab jamuns now. 21st may not taste good. But after a week, again you eat, it will give again taste. Even if you have stomach full, if you eat after a month gulab jamun, it will give you some taste. Why? This is what being explained here. The super soul enters into the bodies of created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by subtle mind. It is the presence of the super soul, Paramatma, which controls the mind of living entities. So it is because of the mind, the living entity is able to relish the different objects of sense enjoyment. And the mind alone is not able to give happiness. It is because of the presence of Paramatma, which actually causes the living entity to experience the happiness. So the gross material body is based on conditions of subtle mind, and the senses are created according to the desires of living entity. So it's the combination of senses and mind which makes a living entity experience happiness. But without the presence of Paramatma, the mere presence of mind and senses and the sense objects will not bring any happiness. So it's Paramatma's presence which makes a living entity experience the happiness. Material happiness, spiritual happiness, all the happiness is made possible by the presence of Paramatma. So suffering or enjoyment, in any category, they are experienced by the living entity. But when the living entity is experiencing the suffering or happiness, that's ultimately is being experienced by the Supreme Lord. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam, I am the ultimate enjoyer. So when Krishna says I am the ultimate enjoyer, that means if somebody is enjoying any form of happiness in this world, Krishna, being the Supreme Father, also feels happiness. And Krishna also feels distress when he sees his part and parcels in distress. Of course, Krishna is not directly affected. Just like the father, as an individual person, when he sees his children enjoying or suffering, the father may feel happiness or distress. But personally, he doesn't feel any happy, he doesn't have any misery or pain. When he sees his children in pain, he may feel pain. Pain in the heart, not the physical pain. So in that way, the suffering of children is not really the suffering of the father, but he still feels suffering. Similarly, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, when he sees living entities suffering in this world, he also experienced suffering. And that is one of the reasons why Krishna comes from time to time to this world. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever there is a decline in religion's principles, I come. So he comes especially to remove the sufferings of living entities. And of course, as the supreme well-wisher, as Paramatma in everyone's heart, is always eager to make living entities turn their face towards real happiness. That means turn their face towards Krishna. We go to the text 34 now. Okay. Bhavayati esha sattvena lokan vai loka bhavana leelavatara nurato devatiryan naradishu. Thus the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mood of pure goodness. So, as we were discussing, that's why the Lord comes to this world to attract the living entities. There are innumerable universes. This we are living, this in small, portion of this tract of land, which is situated in Jambu Dvipa, Bharatavarsha. And that is just an insignificant portion of Jambu Dvipa. which is one of the 7 islands in Bhuloka. And Bhuloka is nothing but just one of the planetary systems among 14 planetary systems. And again, all the 14 planet system, this whole universe, is nothing but one of the insignificant universes among the cluster of innumerable universes. And again, all these cluster of universes, the entire material creation, is only ekapad, 1/4 of the Supreme Lord's creation. So you can imagine how insignificant we are, how insignificant our possessions and our, everything that we have is. And Supreme Lord, he is actually the Lord of spiritual and material creations. He has no interest in coming to this material creation for any enjoyment purpose. Just like the king or the president of United States doesn't have to go to a correctional facility to enjoy. He may go there just for visiting and trying to do survey or doing something to see how he can improve situations. He doesn't have to go there for enjoyment. So similarly, the Supreme Lord, he doesn't have any purpose in coming to this material world other than uplifting the living entities. And even when he comes to this world, he doesn't change his position. He remains untouched. And he comes mainly to perform his pastimes, to attract the living entities who are receptive to Krishna's instruction and the subject matter of Krishna. Sometimes he incarnates himself, or sometimes he sends his empowered representatives, the living entities. So all these incarnations of the Lord, the purpose of the Supreme Lord and his associates coming to this world is mainly to attract everyone to back home, back to Godhead. So this is the sum and substance of these verses. We will stop here. If anyone has any questions, ask.